Drake probably gets so many text messages. There's probably so many girls up in his phone sending him stuff, you know what I mean? How can I be different? How can I stand out from the rest?
Yes. What's poppin'? It's your girl, Mommy Tiff, here with Complex News, and today I am with entertainer, comedian, author, all of the things, Miss Lilly Singh.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming here to speak with us at Complex. How are you doing?
I'm already obsessed with you. I can already tell. This is gonna be a vibe. I'm already obsessed. Sign me right up right now.
Well, welcome to New York. How does it feel to be in New York?
Okay, so me and New York have a little bit of a love-hate relationship. I'm not gonna lie. It's a me problem. This city bullies me.
Okay.
Like, I took a red eye, landed at 5 in the morning, checked into my hotel, and verbatim the man was like, "We accidentally gave your room away." Stranded on the streets for 3 hours. That is New York in me in a nutshell. It challenges me. I'm thrilled to be here, but she does challenge me a little bit.
New York will challenge you. It's definitely that city that, like, they really make you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or break you.
Yes, or break you. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm broken.
Well, we're glad that you're here today.
I'm so happy to be here.
In front of us.
Of course.
I have followed you for years now, and I just want to say the first thing when I hear your name is, you're probably gonna be like, oh my god, is what's up, it's your girl Superwoman.
Let's go. And OG, I appreciate you, and I'm not gonna say it because that is copyrighted. So.
Oh, is it?
No, but you say it.
Oh my god.
I'm not gonna say it.
Okay.
But I like that you said it.
Needless to say, you started off your journey online, but for people who don't know, like, how you became Superwoman, can you just give us, like, how you came up with that name and who Superwoman was?
Totally. And for the record, by the way, me and DC were cool. We figured it out, so we're actually chill. Yeah, so I started making YouTube videos in 2010. I vividly remember when my friend was like, there's this website called YouTube, people are uploading videos, and I was like, sounds kind of dumb, honestly. It sounds kind of whack. And then, I don't know, I was in university at the time getting a degree in psychology, kind of blindly, and I don't know if any of the audience can resonate, just kind of blindly following this path laid out for me. I gotta do what my sister did, I gotta get the degree, and then my parents are gonna expect me to get married, and then I have kids, and like, that's what everyone else in my family has done. And that never sat well with me. I always felt like I wanted to be creative, and I had an itch to do something that just was a little different. And so when I discovered YouTube, I uploaded a video in 2010. It was a spoken word piece. It was bad. It was cringe. It was really awkward. But I just loved this idea of talking about things that were on my mind, and there not being anyone telling me what to do. For the first time, I felt like I could say what I wanted to say, do something for myself, do something different outside of the box. And so that first video led to a second and a third, and eventually I started making comedy videos. Not because I was trained. I have a degree in psychology. I've never ever studied anything related to writing or editing or shooting or anything of that capacity. But I just had so many opinions about things, and I was like, I want to share them. And I think it garnered a little bit of an audience, especially at that time, young brown girls that were like, we've never seen another brown girl talk about taboo subjects, relationships, fighting with her parents, periods, like all this type of stuff. And so I built an audience, and one video led to another, and here I am, baby.
Yeah. I mean, you were one of the first people that I was introduced to when I started watching YouTube. And I'm glad that you brought up, like, being Indian and, like, having that representation in this space. Do you feel at that time, and you could still feel this way today, that, like, being Indian and being one of the very few faces, like, on YouTube at that time, what challenges came along with that, like, I mean, I'm sure there's a plethora, but what challenges, like, stand out to you the most?
I think when I started in 2010, there were so few people that looked like me, and so people were like, this is so cool. There's this one person, we want her to win, and she's the underdog, and we want to support her. And I felt a lot of support in my early YouTube days, and I think this is true of anyone that has a job in the public eye. As you garner more success, that underdog mentality goes away, and suddenly people are like, now I'm disappointed in her, now she's not doing what I want her to do, and now I have all these opinions about what I would do if I was her. And so there's always been challenges throughout, but I feel like I felt the challenges more recently than I did in the beginning. Because in the beginning I'll tell you, in the beginning the biggest challenge was simply the fact that I couldn't lean on anyone. I couldn't ask anyone else for advice. There was no one else that looked like me, really. There was no other South Asian woman on YouTube at that time, to my knowledge at least. And so it was lonely. And I was like, I don't know who I ask advice from. None of my family has ever done anything in entertainment. It was just me figuring it out and in the dark. Now I think why it's challenging is when you get a certain level of success, suddenly the conversation goes from underdog to you represent all of us and you need to not let us down now. And now we're all counting on you. And like suddenly this thing that was a hobby and that was fun and that was creative has turned into, to be blunt, a little bit of like a burden, a little bit of like a weight on your shoulders now where you're like, I gotta be thinking about 1 billion people at all times, which is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it kind of puts you on a pedestal, in a sense. And I feel like during that time, I've seen you collaborate with a lot of different creators also on that platform. But who would you say, like, looking back at the platform of YouTube, who would be on, like, your Mount Rushmore of OG YouTubers?
Ooh, okay, so I absolutely have to give all the roses to Grace Helbig.
Okay.
Because I feel like Grace was one of the creators that, like, did the movies, did the books first, did everything first, kind of paved the path, very much so. Jenna Marbles, of course. You cannot talk about YouTube without talking about Jenna Marbles. Iconic. Ryan Higa, I would say as well. That's a tough question. Anthony Padilla, the Smosh guys, of course. And then I'm gonna give a shout out also to just someone who was my friend and who I adore as a person, but was just so funny, is Kingsley.
Oh.
You know, so I feel like, I mean, there's so many more I could name.
Yeah.
But I feel like those are some people that really come to mind as people that inspired me or that I'm personal friends with that were just, like, really paving the path, who I was watching and so inspired by.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I'm so glad you said Kingsley. Like, Kingsley was also one of those very early on creators that, like, I really resonated with. And it's just so interesting to see, like, even the evolution of everyone's journeys. Like, you talked about Jenna Marbles. She doesn't she's not even online anymore.
Right, yeah.
Which is so interesting. Now, I want to ask you, like, do you feel today that people who are online influencers, that they need to pivot into, like, the entertainment industry, or do you think that they can stay online and continue with that?
I don't think they need to pivot. The only reason I got into TV and film is that I grew up in the era of TV stars and movie stars. So when I was younger, I always dreamt of being on TV because I grew up with that, you know?
Yeah.
I think this generation now, they grew up with social media. So I think there's not as big of a distinction with them for like a movie star and a social media star. And I know this because a lot of them will come up to me and say things like, my favorite people are you. And I remember one of the most unhinged tweets I was ever part of was someone said, my favorite celebrities are Lilly Singh, Madonna, and someone else. I was like, the fact that you are putting me and Madonna in the same tweet is like, listen, I love myself, but I ain't no Madonna. Like, let's just be real here. Like, that's Queen. And so I feel like there's less of a distinction. That's why I pivoted. I have a desire to do long form, and I grew up with it.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of opportunity and in terms of eyeballs and in terms of storytelling, I think the online and digital scape is amazing. Yeah. I mean, factually, today, the biggest streamer is YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, even in living rooms, on TVs, it is YouTube still. And so it was never because I felt it was less than or that I thought people weren't watching. It's just that I had desires to try different things.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that you pointed out, like, because someone put you in the same category as Madonna, but I think this generation looks at influencers as the new celebrities. And speaking of celebrities, you've collaborated with celebrities. You collaborated with, like, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who I know is an icon to you.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you, who was the first celebrity to reach out and, like, wanted to work with you?
Ooh, good question. You know what's so interesting around the time of me collaborating with a lot of those celebrities between, like, 2014, 15, 16 was probably when that was really hot. Yeah. I was kind of, I feel like, if I may say so myself, the liaison of, like, traditional Hollywood celebrities getting into the digital space. So a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, Dwayne Johnson is a prime example. I helped him launch, I announced his YouTube channel at VidCon, I remember. I was one of his first collabs. The day Will Smith got Instagram, for the first time, he came to my house to shoot a video with me. You know what I mean? So I remember being that person that was like, let me show you what the digital space is all about. And even with, like, Alicia Keys when she started doing YouTube stuff. So the one that sticks out the most is, in fact, Dwayne Johnson, because I was really involved with the start of his YouTube channel. But yeah, it's so surreal to say that because I think they all see the value of it, connecting directly with their audience.
you should really look at that as like a compliment, right? Because a lot of celebrities came to you because they saw the knowledge that you had and they watched your journey. And I think that's huge, like to think that there's celebrities that came to you and was like, hey, how do I do this? Like, how has that resonated with you? Like, because that's huge.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. You know, I think what that taught me is the power of storytelling. And I think people don't realize what an incredible skill storytelling is. Everything around us, the culture we live in, how we treat people, how we treat ourselves, how we understand the world, it is all a story. I always tell people, like, the patriarchy is a story, racism is a story, how we treat our ex is a story, like all the things we've been taught from our parents, generational trauma is a story. All the ways we understand ourselves are stories. So to be a skilled storyteller makes you pretty revolutionary and makes you able to implement change. And so when I hear people say that to me, like, I want to learn from you of how you've connected with an audience and how you've resonated with so many people, I do really take that as a compliment. Because what I hear is you have found a way to connect through story. And that's really special, you know, to make people feel seen. I think that is so I will receive that compliment from you. Thank you so much. I do. It is one of my favorite qualities. I have a lot of really terrible qualities, but that's the one I like. I like that one, though.
Being that you're from Toronto, we want to know.
Hey.
Shout out to Toronto.
Hey.
Has Drake ever reached out to you?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked this question. I have a great Drake story.
Oh. We're sad.
Okay, work. Yes, so the first time I ever... Actually... Let me tell you the honest version of this story. Let me not even tell you the media-trained version. Okay, so I wanted Drake to follow me so badly. You know, I grew up in Toronto. Drake obviously has done so much for the city. I adore him. I'm going to die on that hill. From Toronto, I have nothing but respect and roses for that man. He's done so much for our city. When his new OVO Nike collab shoe came out back in the day, I begged my agency. I was like, I need you to get me a pair of these shoes somehow, some way, because they were so hard to get. And then I got those shoes, called my friend over, did a full photo shoot with said shoes, and I said, I'm going to monitor the next time Drake is active online. I'm going to tag him specifically at that moment because I want him to... Now we talk about the power of manifestation. Matched with someone unhinged is me. And so I posted that picture. I saw he was online. I tagged him. Boom. A couple hours later, Drake's followed you. Like clockwork, baby. And I was like, yes, thank you. So then, you know, we DM'd. He's like, so happy for your success. DM, cool.
Oh, my gosh.
Then we met at a Raptor... I think it was a Raptors game. We met the first time.
Toronto Raptors.
We met. We exchanged numbers. And then I was like, let me be fun. Because he always said, like, your sketches are so funny. He used to tell me all the time. And I thought, Drake probably gets so many text messages. There's probably so many girls up in his phone sending him stuff, you know what I mean? How can I be different? How can I stand out from the rest?
Yes.
And so there I was, dressed as Manjeet, my father character. I took a picture of myself, and that is the picture I sent to Drake.
What did he say?
And he just laughed. He just thought it was so funny, but full chest hair, full bear, everything. So I would like to say that I have sent Drake a picture from a girl that he's never gotten before, and that is me dressed up as my Indian father.
That's an iconic story.
Thank you so much, and I stand by that, And one of the greatest highlights of my life, just from being from Toronto, is when Drake posted a picture with me. And I remember when he did that, he was very supportive to be like, so proud of this, you know, she's blowing up, so proud of her from Toronto. But I remember people in the city, out of all the things I've done, they were like, that's really cool. So,
oh my gosh, that is such a funny story you sent.
But that just shows who I am as a person. Not a hot picture, not a sexy picture, just a picture of me dressed as my father.
Yes. You've mentioned a couple of times that you want to step into long form, and you're about to have your first feature film.
Let them know, baby. Let them know.
Now, something that stood out to me in your caption when talking about this being like a labor of love to you, you know, you financially were the one who put this film out.
Yeah.
You talked about that this is, I'm paraphrasing, but for the kids who didn't get the talk. How did your parents give you the talk?
Yeah, well, let me first clarify by saying this is an independently financed film. We have a group of financiers who put a lot of money. Now, I put a lot of my money too, so you're not wrong.
Yeah.
times will be rough. Times will be rough, and I'm so happy to be so honest about that. I did put a lot of money into this movie, and so I really am gonna need everybody here to go buy a ticket to that movie. Please and thank you.
Yes.
Those individual $10 are really gonna help. It go a long way. So the film is about a 30-year-old virgin who finds herself teaching sex ed. So it is a sex comedy.
Yeah.
It's a raunchy sex comedy like the ones I grew up with, American Pie and 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
But just looks a little different. I'm at the center of it. Complex female characters are at the center of it, which I feel is rare for that genre. Usually it's pretty male-centric.
Yeah.
Usually the women are kind of very straightforward, not too complex, and very, if ever, have I seen a woman of color at the center of a sex comedy. And I think that's so important because in so many cultures, especially I'll speak personally from South Asian culture, sex is a major taboo topic. There's a billion Indians on this planet. None of them have had sex, apparently, because none of them have the talk. None of them want to admit they've ever had sex. We're all virgins.
But somehow they had children.
There's just a billion Indian virgins on this planet. My parents never had sex.
But you're here.
Somehow, but apparently they've never had sex. So I did not get the talk. I remember one of my friends called me and she's like, guess what? And I was like, well, she's like, I got my period. And I was like, oh, had no clue what she was talking about. I didn't know what a period was. I went to my mom and I was like,
gosh.
Mom, what's a period? And she sat me down.
How old were you?
Oh, girl, probably too old
Okay.
to not know what a
Okay.
period was. Like grade 6.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I had a vague idea, but I didn't fully understand what that meant. And
Okay.
they also didn't teach us in school very well. So I was like, I don't know what this is. So I asked my mom, what does it mean to get a period? And bless my mom, my Indian immigrant mother, she was like, oh, God, F me. She's like, all right, sit down. It was 44 seconds, the talk. And she said, when you reach a certain age, you're going to get your period. You're going to bleed. That means if you have sex, you can get pregnant.
Ooh.
Any questions? And I was like,
That was it.
That was it. And my sister's in the corner laughing. And immediately I got up and I went to the bathroom to check if I got my period in that moment because I was like, this must have induced my period. And that was the whole talk. But like, I didn't understand even what she meant when she said, when you have sex. I didn't completely understand what that meant and what that looked like. And then in school, we had one session where they divided the girls and boys.
Yeah.
And our gym teachers just kind of sat us down. And they were ill-equipped as well. They were so awkward about it. And all they taught us was anatomy and STDs.
Yeah.
And it was straight as hell. And I didn't learn anything. I have one vivid memory from that class, which is one of my classmates raised her hand. And there was this only question I remember. She raised her hand. She goes, I have a question. And she held up her pencil and she goes, what if the penis is as thin as this pencil and it just falls out? And the teacher says verbatim, then you shouldn't take it. And that was the whole lesson.
That.
You shouldn't take a small penis is what I learned.
Shout out to your teacher though, because.
And she was French too, so she had that French sass too.
Oh yeah.
You know? So, but that's all I learned. I never learned about sexuality. I never learned about consent. I never ever learned about pleasure. They're not teaching no girl or woman that you can enjoy sex.
Which your character really, I see, hones in on based off the trailer.
So for most of it, to be really, just keep it 100, for most of my life, sex and sexuality has been a very triggering topic for me.
Okay.
Like, I have always struggled to talk about it. I've always felt uncomfortable around it. I've always felt not knowledgeable about it. I've never felt empowered to ever talk to a partner about it. I've never been like, do I get to enjoy this? What do I even like? Do I even get to explore this? Or I'm just not even supposed to enjoy it. It's not supposed to be for me.
Yeah.
And so when this script came to me for the first time, I was so taken aback by like, this is such an important thing. And I want to do this for little Lily. Yeah. So I'm one of the writers on it. And I'd say that the final version of the movie is like probably 70% my writing. And a lot of my life is in there. A lot of my experiences are in there. But I'm trying to do it for especially the girls and women who are just like, no one has ever talked about this and normalized this for us, and it should be normalized.
Yeah. No, I applaud you for that because in a similar sense, I didn't have those conversations in my household either. And I know we're going to have to wrap soon, but I just want to get in this question with you. You know, you have gone down the traditional TV route, and now you have your own series, Shameless, on your YouTube channel. For creators now who, you know, want to really establish themselves and have, whether that be their own podcast, you know, series, talk show, what advice do you have for them in terms of like, should they go down the traditional TV route or should they just do it for themselves?
I feel like it depends what their why is. I always tell people, whatever your goals are, just be really honest about them. I often get asked, hey, Lily, I want to create XYZ, Z, Canadian, XYZ, and what should I do? And I always say, is your goal to make money? Because if it's to make money, this is the trajectory. If it's to tell a story you're really passionate about and you don't care about the money, go down this route. If it's to get as many eyeballs as possible, go down this route. So like, don't judge your why, just know what your why is, know what your goal is. If it is to get eyeballs, YouTube is a great place. There's no greater eyeballs than YouTube. And let me tell you, as someone who has a movie coming out, you have to do movies by territory, by country. YouTube is global, has the most amount of eyeballs, right? And so, like, if you're trying to make money, maybe there's a different route of, like, but I think just figuring out what your why is. I think YouTube is a great place. I think all social media, in terms of storytelling, is so powerful. And so I don't think you should feel pressure to go into the tradition. Also, what is traditional versus digital these days? It's so blending together these days anyway. So I would say it depends on what your goals are, honestly.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that advice. And congratulations on your film. It comes out
September 19th, and I'll just end by saying,
yes,
this is not a big studio movie. This is like a small movie. I've put so much money into this movie, so I know you guys work hard for your money, but if there's any money you can spare to go to a theater and see it on September 19th, your support would go a long way for us, because this is just a bunch of brown people that are just trying to do something here for the culture. So,
yes. And where can the people stay up to date with you every day?
So you can follow me on Instagram, Lilly. I mostly post there, but on all social media. On all social medias, Lilly is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have that handle everywhere?
Do I have that handle everywhere? I think I do.
Because I'm like, that's hard if you got that handle everywhere.
I'm not going to lie, it's one of my greater flexes. Every time I tell someone my IG handle, I go Lilly, and they go, and I go, period.
That's it.
That is the biggest flex of my life after a decade in this industry, is that I can say Lilly is my handle. That's right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes.
You're so sweet and lovely, and you're so good at this.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.